We're sending you away for 6 months.
Oh my, thank you. And James, did I decide
Council meeting's backyard.
It's right across from the lake.
I mean, on the beach.
Linda, the lights are
Right.
on.
Oh, the hockey ring.
All I can tell you is when Councilman Knapp ran the meeting, things worked.
The lights on.
He knew it. We didn't have to tell him. Just saying.
Wow. Everyone, thank you for coming. I'm very glad you're here, and you'll hear a lot tonight. So, welcome to, especially from that end. So, welcome to the Oakland Mayor and Council meeting, July 24th, and roll call, please.
Mayor Schrager?
Here.
Councilman Bialy?
Here.
Councilman Knapp?
Here.
Councilman Kamala?
Here.
Councilman Levy?
Here.
Councilman Pignatelli?
Here.
Councilman Talamini?
Here.
Please look at your cell phones and please turn them off or put them on vibrate so you don't disturb the meeting. Also, kindly refrain from texting because it is rude, disruptive, and they all repeated after me. It's rude, disruptive, and could be a violation of the Open Public Meetings Act depending on who you are texting and what you're texting about. So at this time, I ask you to stand for a moment of silence, first the flag salute, then the moment of silence. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Be seated. Everyone turn your microphones on. This meeting is being held in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Law duly announced, advertised, and posted in the municipal building. And as I do at every beginning of every meeting, I do a mayor's report. And before I do my mayor's report, I want to thank Council President Bobby Knapp, thank you, for presiding over the last meeting while I was away on vacation with my grandchildren. So I heard it was very orderly, right on time, no problems.
I made a few mistakes, but it was all right.
That's okay.
Lisa kept me in touch.
A few? Yeah, no, just a few.
Just a few. Good news. On Friday night, this Friday night at Valley Middle School at 7 o'clock is the 4th annual graduation of the Oakland Junior Police Academy. And if you've never attended, it is just a remarkable thing to see. These kids have been on the Junior Academy with our Oakland Police, and it's just an incredible experience. They show pictures, they show video of the time they had with the Oakland Police, what they learned. It's just very exciting. So if you have nothing else to do, it's welcome, you're welcome, it's open to everybody. Valley Middle School cafeteria, 7 o'clock this Friday night.
And I'll be playing the bagpipes that evening.
That, there?
Absolutely.
You want to borrow an amplifier or something?
Really?
No, really.
Oh.
You did last year,
Yeah,
too.
I got 100
Well,
watt
you know,
amp.
it's funny because I went, as a side note, I went last week to the oath of office for our prosecutor, the county prosecutor, and they had bagpipe
Yes.
players. And I kept saying, I wonder if Pat's here, but you weren't.
I'll be here Friday.
Okay, good, very good. You may have received or maybe not your tax bills this year. They came out, they were mailed. Just remember, because they were mailed late, and we're earlier than a lot of towns, that the grace period is extended. So you have until August 25th to pay your taxes for this quarter. It's usually due August 1st, but because of the timing of the tax bill, you have until August 25th. And when you look at the tax bill, we're going to have an informational session on this. When you look at the tax bill, just remember, your tax bill includes the municipal tax, the school tax, the county tax, and it's not just what we do in our municipal government, it's all three. And I think we're pretty much the smallest portion
We're 1/7.
of the whole,
There's
yeah,
7
think of
parts.
a pizza pie, you know, they have this on the news, pizza pie. We're a little slice of a pizza pie. It's mostly the school, I'm sorry, the county.
County's only like 11%. So
Right, so it's the
not much
schools, all
more.
right, we'll blame the schools. But we are very lucky with our school system, we have an excellent school system. but that's where the money is. It's very difficult to regulate the tax, and we've been pretty good about stabilizing our taxes. And I'm saving Almond Brook for last, because everybody's here. Yes, this way you'll have to sit here. There was an issue, I was advised for the past couple of days, 2 weeks ago started, then this week, that I was not aware that the Oakland Communications Commission, as you know, we televise, apparently one of the residents goes to OLPH on Saturday nights and tapes the mass. He then brings the tape to the police station, and then in the past, Don Burns would pick up the recording, bring it down here, set the timer, so that if you couldn't go to church on Sunday morning to church service, you could watch it on television. And this resident contacted me because he said, Don Burns is in Chicago visiting his son for the past couple of weeks, and for the past 4 weeks, you have not been able to watch the church service on Sunday morning. I contacted the chairman of the Oakland Communications Commission, and I also contacted the liaison, and they're working on it. So I apologize on behalf of the town. I know this is a great service that was provided, but the Oakland Communications Commission is trying to work out a system where the church service will be back on television on Sunday mornings. So it's coming. It's off now, but it's coming. So we're working on it. Now, Almond Brook. It's already been 2 weeks when we went on a Sunday night? Was it 2 weeks ago?
No.
Past Sunday? Not this
week
past Sunday.
Week and a couple days.
Yes. Around the 14th. Councilman Levy called me. I was away. That was the week I was away. I come back. I hear it was awful rains we had. And he said, I'm going down to Almond Brook with our engineer. You should come down. And so on Sunday night, after I had a commitment, my husband drove me down, and I stood on Lake Shore, and I just could not believe what I saw. And I am sorry that we were not kept informed before this. The water was just rushing down. The engineer pointed out the cracks on the bridge that Almond Brook runs underneath Lake Shore, between the brook and into the lake. And the bridge of Lake Shore, I was pointed out the cracking and some of the wear and tear of the underneath. There's erosion on the gabion walls. I'm going to bring this up because Lou says I keep saying the word shed, because I panicked when I visited the Wilson's home about the shed falling in. I was assured that temporarily, I could be assured that it's not going to fall in. I was told that it was emptied out.
Yes.
And that it is secure right now. But I was watching the brook, and it was just so, it was like rapids. And I saw it was concrete and debris and waste, and I don't know what else could possibly, everything is running down. I met the neighbor on one side, the 64, that's Fernando? Where the
64 is Fernando.
64, we spoke to him, and he's doing construction on his house, but we needed a way to get into the brook to be able to do some work, and he and the borough have signed an agreement to give us an easement so that we will be able to get into the brook to do some work. I met with some of the residents. Some residents weren't there on that following Monday when I went back, and I left my card in the door. I don't know if you saw it, but I wanted to tell you that once we were made aware of the severity of the situation, that we were going to do something. And it took awareness, and again, you know what, I wasn't there. I didn't realize how serious it was. Councilman Levy will talk about it more in depth because depth. He will talk about it. But we are going to do an emergency appropriation tonight to at least get a temporary fix until we can figure out what we have to do for a more permanent fix. I want you to know I have been in touch with the governor's office. I spoke with the governor's rep. We followed up, I was told by the governor's rep after I spoke with him that Mr. Kearns had to write a letter and put it in writing to memorialize the severity and the seriousness of the situation. I also spoke to our Congressman Gottheimer's office about if there's any relief that they could help us with. We are working on this. And again, you will hear tonight that there is a resolution to, for an emergency appropriation to get, started. Because of the threshold, we do not have to go out for bidding for the emergency work. It will be within the threshold, so we don't have to spend weeks and months to start with the bidding. So we could get started immediately. I assure you, we're working on it. And like I said, right now, we gotta give you temporary relief until we can figure out and find out what a more permanent relief is and why. And like I said, Councilman, oh, lost my head for a minute.
There we go, and I'm good.
Councilman Levy has been in touch with our engineer, and our engineer, John Yakimic, is here. They could both give you a better idea when we get to that section on the emergency appropriation, exactly what's going to be happening immediately to give you immediate relief. It's not permanent immediate relief. It's temporary, but it's relief, so that we can get through this time when we can figure out what has to be done and at what cost. And we're trying to get help from, as you heard, I spoke with the governor's office and with the congressman's office. We're trying to get help from all ends. And because of this, we realized that the town is getting old. We think we're young and we all age, and so does the town. And our infrastructure is starting to go. It's being neglected a little bit. We're not really keeping up with it. We have a lot of capital improvements that we have to really examine. So at this time, after discussion with our attorney and with our administrator, I am going to appoint an ad hoc committee called Capital Improvements. I'm appointing Councilman Lou Levy and Councilman John Bialy to work on called a Capital Improvements Ad Hoc Committee. We have issues with Patriots Way Bridge. We have issues with the Lenape Lane Bridge. We have sidewalks that are falling apart by, the easiest way to explain it is across the street from the Oakland Diner, by Great Oak Park. There are some capital issues that we really need constant looking into, being made aware of, so we don't just ignore it. If you don't see it, it goes away. But we can't do this anymore. Like I said, the town is aging, we're aging, we have to really examine it. So I'm asking for the ad hoc committee. It will be Councilman Levy and Councilman John Bialy, and they will meet and decide if we should have a bigger, they will expand the committee to lay people. We will need our engineer, of course, John Yakimic, to be on this committee. So then they could make regular reports. They will go out and review all our infrastructure. It needs to be looked at. We really have to keep up on these things. And when you let things go, it gets worse over time. But if we can keep up with it on a regular basis, then I think we'll all be better off. And so, do you accept being on the committee, Councilman?
Yes, Mayor.
And
Thank
John Bialy, do you
Yes.
accept? Thank you. And you'll meet with our engineer, John Yakimic,
Who?
and our engineer, John Yakimic.
Oh, yeah, him, okay.
And
I
figure
talk to him
out,
every day, so.
and just to figure out the best way, that this committee can work and look at it. So with that, I will entertain a motion to open to the public.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You wanna go now?
Yeah, that'd be
Okay.
great.
Oh,
Thank
we
you.
have a surprise visitor.
Well, it's not really a surprise, she's got.
I was
two
gonna say,
pieces of
it's not a
cardboard
surprise
with
to
her.
me.
Our freeholder, well, the
yeah.
microphone's over here,
The
above
microphone's
the,
up in the ceiling.
on the ceiling above the podium.
So I should go this way.
And then it'll be televised.
Okay.
Yes.
So, Mayor, Council, it is my pleasure, Bergen County Freeholder Tracy Zer, and I'm here on behalf of my colleagues on the Board of Chosen Freeholders, as well as County Executive James Tedesco, tonight to
Ooh.
ceremoniously present you with our big check of $175,000 to go towards the improvements to the recreation center of the roller hockey rink. You know, these are investments.
Fabulous.
Thank you.
I'm going to take a picture of this.
These kinds of investments from our open space fund are critical for us to make sure that we're improving recreational opportunities for people of all ages, to improve the quality and caliber of the services that our towns can provide. But especially for me, I'm really keyed into a lot of the things going on with our young people regarding their over-connectivity on their devices and not enough connectivity to each other. And so to be able to make an investment like this in things that are going to bring people together, give kids opportunities to expand and enhance their wellness, engage in group activities together, and really enrich the quality of opportunities for them to explore and be physical and be out there and be part of the community together. That's what we're all about. This is why I'm so excited to be here tonight and so excited to continue to work with you as a council to explore other open space and recreation opportunities and ways that we can collaborate in general in shared services so that we can continue to do more with less, so that we can continue to work collaboratively to enhance the lives of all the residents here in Oakland and the county as a whole.
That's fabulous.
I would like to present this. Can we do a big picture?
Yes, we could all do a picture, a group picture.
Would you mind doing a group picture?
A group picture, everybody.
Thank you, guys. And this one won't cash, but there is a real one that will.
Oh,
What are we gonna do?
Do you want to go around the front?
why don't we stand behind you?
Sure. I'll, if you don't
Over by the
you want me to stand in the middle?
I don't know.
Come on, over here.
Can we stand back there with you?
Yeah, why don't you come back?
Because otherwise you're gonna.
My point. Fantastic.
I know it's award, 300
So, yeah, can we have a chair? I feel like the mayor.
Remember the lead on the bottom?
Yeah. Alright.
Say cheese.
Cheese.
One more, 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Doing my job. With your iPad.
Thank you so much.
So, why is as we talk about old, I keep thinking of him?
I feel hot. Who's that hot?
I don't know, she said, community getting older, and I'm like, what
care.
is this here?
I'm impressed. We have these computers that we're told not to block the microphone, so we're trying to get all the room here. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to open to the public.
We did that already.
Is there a second?
Second.
Did we do all in favor?
Yes.
Then please come and speak.
That's the agenda.
Michael Pritchard, 23 Calumet. I was recently appointed to the Flood Commission, and I was listening to Councilman Levy that every time he deals with the state says, Alderman Brook is Oakland's problem. Wrong. It is the state's problem. So
I
what-
told that to the governor, but he didn't listen.
Yeah, well, I got the proof. What I did was I went down to the county clerk's office, which anything dealing with real property is recorded down there. And I started out, let me read it. The highway started out as a development in the 1920s. When the New Jersey Highway Commission proposed the New Jersey Highway S4 in the late 1920s, the State Highway Department commenced work on the development of S4 with the land survey of the right-of-way for the highway in 1932. The Bergen County Clerk's Office is the repository of these records of the right-of-way of New Jersey S4. There are 5 development maps with the highway applicable to Oakland. Beginning in Fairlawn, the highway went from Fairlawn to Glen Rock and went all the way up and stopped abruptly at Goffel Road. Then in 1933, the survey began work again on a map. This is important, I have it here for you. Map 2963, and was developed. The map went from Goffel Road and Hawthorne to Oakland Avenue. I'll get to that one too. The map consists of 13 pages, and of which pages 10 through 13 are applicable to Oakland. On page 10 of interest shows a map called Crystal Lake. It's not the Crystal Lake that you're talking about, RML. It's the Crystal Lake that's on Franklin Lake's Oakland borderline.
Cali Lake, I think it is.
No, that's the second one.
That's the other one?
Yeah, that's another one. And it reveals that the highway followed the right-of-way of Alaman Road in Oakland to the junction Oakland Avenue. And there they developed a whole interchange on Oakland Avenue. The design took away Park Place, which is now Powder Mill Road, Cedar Street. That road ended in West Oakland Avenue. In 1938, a schedule of property to be acquired was by the State Department of Transportation. Of that schedule, as I have it right here, 32 properties were in Oakland, and to be acquired with Oakland. The search of the property lines in Oakland, I was looking for like, if there was something, environmental covenants and stuff like that. No, they're all meets and bounds, they're straight things. However, that's where it stopped there. Now, in 1962, a map, 5892, dated August 30th, 1962, revealed several changes. The first change was the designation of S4, because in 1953, the state of New Jersey dropped the alphanumeric and went to numeric numbers. That's why you have 208 now. That's exactly why you have it.
1954?
In 1953, New Jersey dropped the alphanumeric and went to all numeric.
Okay.
So now that's why you have 208. Let me continue on here. There was a second change to Oakland Avenue. Again, I'll get to Oakland Avenue on that. That's now called Ramapo Valley Road. There was the change there, and they changed that intersection, which then put the changes of Ramapo Valley Road ending on West Oakland Avenue. Now, when I moved up here in 1968, 208 ended on West Oakland Avenue. Not where it is right now. That's where it actually ended. Now, this is the most important one. On a map, 6823, dated 6/13/1969. The map consists of 9 pages and discloses significant changes to Alman Brook. Page 2 shows Alman Brook flowing from Oakland into flowing into Oakland from Franklin Lake. Page 3 shows a Cali Lake that you were talking about on Alman Road, on Alman Brook. This would be on the northbound lane of 208. Page 4 is significant because the relocation of Alman Brook and the construction of a box culvert with the dimensions of 16 feet by 5 feet. Now lastly, the elimination of Cali Lake. The map shows on page 5 an ancient water flow, and I'll get to that one too, of what that means. Now, map 92, dated 10/13/78, was created to reflect modifications of the past highways. Corrections were made along Alaman property lines and along the brook. The intersection of 208 and Ramapo Valley was also modified. However, this is important, I think you were looking about this. A 30-inch pipe was proposed to go under the highway. The length of the pipeway was to be under the north and southbound lanes of 208. That pipe the pipe inlet was extended to parcels 66A and 66B, which is the old property people, the old owners of that was Emma Allerman. And 68A and 68B, a Herman Conver, from the south to the north. The latest map, which is quite important, because now you're coming into something with the federal government. The latest map, 8115, dated March 23rd, 1983. This map is markedly different than all previous surveys maps. It clearly depicts I-287. The title of the map, and this is what drove me, what the heck are they talking about? It's called the Alignment Preservation Map. This is what it is. The concept of
Who
the...
designed that map?
Huh?
Who did the map?
All we have is just the map. Now, I'll get to I'll tell you how it gets there, because
All
now,
right, sorry.
the long-range, he says, the concept of the map is the long-range corridor plan. New Jersey statute 27:7-67 is applicable because it grants to the New Jersey State Highway Commission the approval for building permits or subdivisions on any lots, tract, or parcel of land that abuts a state highway such as 287. The Alignment Preservation Map is a requirement of the National Environment Protection Act. It's a federal requirement.
So it's a federal map.
Yeah, but it's a federal requirement. Now, I brought up the thing about ancient water course, and I was asking about, we were always talking about runoff of water. And what I did was, I have a copy of Black's Law Dictionary at home, it's about 800 pages. So,
We
I
have
looked-
Brian.
Yeah, I brought 3 with me.
Right, but an ancient water course is a channel through which is naturally runs or has existed from time immemorial. And then when an inverse compensation, which is, again, something that's really important with this. Inverse compensation of property is a partial as to the cause or partial to lose much of its value below. The parcel, in effect, is constructively condemned, and just compensation must be paid to the owner, even though the formal eminent domain proceeding is not actually taken. Now, the Allen Brook Ancient Water Course was modified by the state of New Jersey and to build 208 and Interstate 287. In doing so, they altered the water course of the brook. The state eliminated 2 lakes on the brook. The original Crystal Lake, the one that's on Franklin Lakes, borderline. Not RMLs.
By Lakeside Boulevard.
No,
On Lakeside.
On Lakeside?
no, this is up by McCoy Road.
Doesn't exist anymore.
It doesn't exist anymore, but this was up by McCoy Road.
And that was called, what was it called?
Originally, it was called Crystal Lake.
That was Crystal, that was what you first talked about.
Yeah, and then they eliminated Cali Lake. Now, Cali Lake was on the southbound lane of 208. In fact, there used to be a Texaco gas station there, in the back of that was the lake. I used to get my car fixed there.
Brookside.
Yeah, what, no, not Brookside. It's, no,
Well,
this
keep
was
going.
down,
Keep going.
right. The culvert, yeah, okay. Now, a culvert and pipe was introduced to the water flow of the brook. Add to that the impervious nature of the road surface. This may contribute to the reduction of 50% or more of rainwater being absorbed by the soil plus our mountainous environment. Interstate 287 was funded by the federal government. The federal government, can you have some water?
Want
I
water?
got it right here.
You want water? Do you want some? Oh,
There's water right there.
oh, but, oh. I
Okay.
didn't see how much water was in.
Yes. The federal government are bound by the findings of the Congress. There is flooding on the mudslides, because that's what I looked at Allen Brook as a result of the Interstate I-287 and New Jersey 208. 42 United States Code, Section 4001, small d, ending, mudslides, states, the Congress finds that the damage and loss which results from mudslides is related in cause and similar in effect which results directly from storms, deluges, overflowing water, and other forms of flooding. 2, the problems involved in providing protection against this damage and loss and the possibilities for making such protection available through a federal or federally sponsored program are similar to those which exist in connection with efforts to provide protection against damage and loss caused by such forms of flooding. And here's an important thing, it's a therefore clause. Therefore, it is the further purpose of this chapter to make available by means of other means, procedures, instrumentalities, which are otherwise established or available under this chapter for the purpose of flood insurance programs, protection against the damage or loss of mudslides, and are caused by accumulations of water and the fire. And this is what the Congress of the United States has said. So, see, it's not Oakland, it's the state of New Jersey.
Well, it sounds more like it's the federal government.
Okay, wait a minute, I still got more.
Okay.
I still got more.
Well, we're in
That's a-
You're
1983.
limited
Wait a
to
minute.
3 minutes.
We're in 1983.
Wait a minute, that's a statute. I have case law.
All right, could you move a little bit forward towards
Okay.
2000?
Okay, I'm getting to you right there.
Okay.
To 2000. Now, inverse compensation was defined, is governed by the U.S. Supreme Court in the decision of Arkansas Game and Fish Commission versus the United States, volume 568 U.S. 23, and you wanted 2000, it's 2012.
Oh, well, okay.
And the New Jersey Appellate Court, Bartoloff versus Jackson Township Board of Education, A 4153-16T is in Thomas 4. In the Arkansas Game, Justice Ginsburg wrote, that for a nearly unanimous court that the government-induced flooding temporarily and in duration gains no exemption from a takings clause. This is important, that's your Fourth Amendment rights. With regulation, temporary physical invasion by the government interferes with private property. Our decisions recognize that time is needed, a factor to determine the existence of non-available compensation. Now, the Supreme Court put out 4 things that you have to follow with. And this is what the state of New Jersey is going to be.
He's taking notes.
Oh, sure, I'll give him a copy.
I
You
know,
don't have
but
to-
that's why I didn't
I
take,
know I'm gonna get a copy.
that's why I'm not writing
Well, you
anything,
have
he
a
always
copy.
provides a
The
copy
The U.S.
to us.
Supreme Court,
I need a copy.
the U.S. Supreme Court established Arkansas game a 4-part test for determining whether a temporary taking from a government-induced flooding occurred, like what happened here. The length of time of the alleged taking, the degree in which the invasion is intended or is a foreseeable result of authorized government action, character of the land of the owner's expectations regarding the land use, and the severity of the government's interference. And you can find that on volume 568 U.S. at pages 38 and 39. This is the last page. In the Barlow, the Jackson thing, which is the appellate court in New Jersey. Again, the state of New Jersey is at fault. The Ocean County Appellate Court ruled against Barlow Board of Education. The BOA Board of Education acknowledged that New Jersey regulations, post-construction runoff is supposed to reduce the added volume and would lead to more frequent flooding of the properties. New Jersey Department of Regulations only regulate flow rate and not volume of stormwater. The appellate court held that the Board of Education, in effect, was taking to reconsider this matter to the Arkansas Game Commission. Now, the question before us is the mud flow and flooding on Alaman Brook inverse condensation? And I submit to you, yes. Now, I also put
Now,
down...
if you were a judge, we'd be fine.
Now, what I also did was I listed the sources, because I think that's important. The Congress of the United States. I go to the Library of Congress. The Supreme Court of the United States. I have shortcuts to these things on my computer. The Appellate Court of Ocean County. The Bergen County Clerk's Office. The New Jersey Department of Transportation. And I went to, and I also have a shortcut to this, the Law Library of Cornell University, the Law Library of Rutgers University, BYU's Public Law, the Code of Federal Regulations, and the New Jersey Administrative Code, and of course my chapter, he says, of course, my Black's Law Dictionary.
You know what, instead of me dealing with the governor, I think I should have you deal with the governor. You did a lot of research, and it's very much appreciated, and of course, he always gives us copies, and I thank you. Our engineer will take a copy, our attorney will take a copy, and I will, when I speak to the governor's rep, I think I'm gonna call him tomorrow. Yeah, and explain that
It's their problem.
it doesn't matter whose problem it is, right now, we have to have a temporary fix, that we know.
Yeah, well, first...
And that gives us time now to get the increased funding that we need to permanently fix it.
That I agree with you, but these people here, they've been lying to him.
Not successfully, though.
But they've been lying.
But
I don't
it
like a liar.
doesn't matter whose responsibility
Yeah.
right now. Right now, we have to temporarily
I
fix
agree with you,
the
1000%.
problem. And that's what we're going to do tonight. This will help us in the long run, that we don't have to keep doing this regularly, yes.
I'm sorry, Mayor, can I just, and everything you're saying, I agree with, and nobody is more frustrated with these people
Yeah.
than we are. Because the nonsense about it's
That's
not their
right.
jurisdiction is stupid.
Right. Well, here,
Right, but the mayor is 100% right. By the time we prove to them, or we get a court to force them to do anything, they're not gonna have backyards. And so therefore.
Or sheds. I had to throw that in.
So what we are doing right now is probably by Monday, John, I think? Yes,
John,
yeah,
speak
Monday.
up, that's our engineer.
So by
John is our
Monday, there's gonna
engineer.
be a machine, maybe Tuesday, depending on weather. There's gonna be a machine sitting up on Fernando Fernandez's property. And we're gonna start putting in an access road. We're gonna do some
That's the
very
easement
quick
to get into the
temporary
brook.
stabilization of Kerry Brugger's wall, it's the one on 66. The gabion wall that's still up right against the bridge that's getting
The
ready to
fence where the
fall.
fence is?
Where the stained fence is.
Right.
So we're gonna put some large diameter boulders. Correct. Down at the bottom, so we stabilize it, and then we're gonna stabilize Terry Wilson's property with some of the larger rocks that the stream has now benefited us with. At the same time, we're gonna be cleaning out underneath the bridge to get some more big rocks. That's gonna buy us enough time to figure out, we're gonna be working on who we're gonna get to help us with this, because it's a big repair.
Yep.
That whole channel has to be repaired from Crystal Lake right up to 202.
Yep.
I will tell you, just, and if you don't mind again, Mayor, that it's.
No, but this is so important,
I know.
and we have the
So,
resolution tonight.
We have actually made a modicum of progress. A few months ago, we had a meeting in this very office. We had the DOT here, we had the DEP, we had Senator Cardinale came down, some of them, and Bob Watt came down. Holly Shapizi had sent somebody down here. And more importantly, the DOT sent engineers. The DEP sent engineers, and we had engineers. And we went out, we showed the DOT the property that they've been claiming is not their jurisdiction.
That was the
last-
first problem. They claimed that along 287, they didn't have jurisdiction.
They lie.
Yes.
This is
So-
what this is about. They lie.
They actually, just so everybody knows, they admit that the drainage facility, all those properties that are right along exit 58, on the southbound side, it's their property, they know it. They understand now that their drainage facility has a problem. The erosion on that part of it is actually starting to work towards the exit ramp. So they are becoming more cooperative. However, as far as the part below 202, which is what we're calling Alderman Brook, which on some of the maps is called Pond Brook, that's the part that we're still arguing with them about, this is your responsibility. Part of it is, and to what you said, is that depending on whose map you look at and when you look at it, that stream is in a different space, it is in a different depth, it is a different width. It's an easement, except on some maps, it's 10-foot easement from the banks back to the properties. On another map, it's a 20-foot wide easement that appears to be in the center of the channel, but the easement doesn't actually define the channel. It just says, here's a 20-foot easement. Well, that channel is 34, 35 feet wide, John?
Roughly, yes.
Where are you talking about with the brush by Fernando's property?
Yeah.
Yes.
So what's exposed right now is about 15 or 20 foot. In other words, sort of what's exposed, what's the water course right now is basically the easement, but that easement is actually another third wider. It's just all silted up. So we are working on it. We basically put together a 3-phase plan. Number one is we're gonna stabilize the two imminent pieces of danger, which is Terry Gruber's wall and Terry Wilson's bank.
Shed.
And yes, the shed, which is on a concrete slab, which is on a footing, which is, not going anywhere. Phase two is gonna be, we're gonna do a permanent fix. What we're gonna do to that temporarily is really gonna be 4, 5, 6 months fix, depending on weather. But we need time to do the proper engineering, because we have to make sure that whatever we do is going to satisfy the water course that's actually being put in there. The next part of this is that we are going to be doing some light hydrology studies for the purpose of scientifically proving to the DOT and or the state and or the county, whoever it is, that either 208 or 287 is the cause of this exceptional water velocity. Technically, what happened a week ago last Friday, was not flooding, it was an erosion event. The volume of the water exceeded the bank's capacity to withstand it.
That's a mudslide.
And basically, the wall slid out.
That's a mudslide.
It's a mudslide, but it wasn't really, nothing flooded. The water didn't leave its banks. It wasn't flooding. But we need to prove to them that, and we've seen it, because Roy Balberger and I went and looked that day, or the next day, we saw the stream house velocities were almost nothing. Up behind the railroad tracks, behind Rabari, which is where Cali Lake feeds into, that was barely flowing we went down by the DOT's drainage facility, and it was just flying. So, we have made some headway with them, we have not made enough, but we are well on our way, it's going to be fixed.
So we have the easement in place,
Well,
correct?
the easement's been there, the easement's, yes.
I mean, it's also,
The
we have
temporary
we have the
easement,
agreement.
yes, we have
So you think
Well,
that
we
the
don't have it
machinery,
back yet. It
when
just
do you think the
changes dates.
machinery will start, John?
Monday.
We're hopeful for Monday. I was on the phone with the contractor, and if we have all the paperwork in place and the paperwork from the residents and with what the administrator needs, we have to give him a go-ahead by the end of the day tomorrow, and he could show up on Monday to start. So if not Monday, Tuesday.
And
you
just
know.
the last thing I wanna just say to everybody is that, you know, I know a lot of you, I make jokes about how slow things work in government. I have to tell you something, that everybody in the town has been working at a breakneck speed to make sure that everything happens very fast. I mean, right, John Yakimic and I talk on the phone 2 or 3 times a day. You know, we both stop by that bridge almost I stop by it virtually every day, just to make sure that nothing's happened. You know, and so we can keep track of anything that might be happening.
I do drive by,
And
I can't do anything, but I do drive by just to see what's going on. Like I said, I did stop by.
this is going at a very fast pace.
It's under the threshold, we could get it going immediately,
that's-
so you will get immediate relief.
And that's exactly what we did. We found out what the thresholds we were able to do. The Friday that John Yakimic and I were over by Terry Wilson's property, right then and there, I called the DEP, got them on the phone. We actually have a very good relationship with them now. Explained what happened. They then and there granted us an emergency permit to operate.
So we
So
can do it
instead
right
of the
away.
usual 6 months or a year that it takes to be able to work in a water course, we can do it immediately. All we have to do is present to them basic information, here's what we're doing, they're gonna say yes, we do it, then we have an after-action report and they issue a permit retroactive. So,
So this will help us in the long run.
Yes,
Right now, tonight, we have a resolution
okay.
for an emergency appropriation, so we can get started immediately.
I
the hope
understand, I
is
understand that,
60
but
days, this is done,
but
the emergency part.
these maps that I quoted, they're official United States, United New Jersey maps.
Well, that's why I said, we know
They-
you always
they're the
make copies
official
for us,
ones.
so I appreciate that. But this will help us in the long run between our engineer,
Right.
our attorney. Lisa will make copies for us.
I made a bunch of copies.
Wait,
You made
isn't
a
that what you
bunch.
sent us?
That's right.
This is the same one. Oh, it's the same one.
Yeah, it's the same one, we have it
Same
on
one I
our-
have.
our-
Except that I put on the, where, my sources.
Don't say anything.
Mayor,
Yes.
I'd like to comment a little bit. It's,
What?
this, Allen Brook is not a new issue.
All right.
It's been going on,
John?
for the 20 years I've been involved in town, it's been going on. And the problem is, Allen Brook, when the Gabion walls were new, that thing ran perfectly. Except, nothing has ever been done to maintain Allen Brook. So over the years, it's been used and used and used and used to the point where it's gotten old and it's breaking down. It's a hole, and no one's ever stepped up to the plate to say, it's my issue, it's my problem. And I have maintained over the years that that brook takes water from the county road, Rampo Valley Road, takes water now from 287, 208, from Franklin Lakes, and from Oakland. So all those entities use Allen Brook to get rid of their stormwater. Normally, you would pay somebody to get rid of your stormwater. So you're not paying anybody, but at least maintain the avenue of approach that the water is coming in. So, and I appreciate the work you did, Mike, but to litigate what you just brought up to us, it would be 25 years, and there would be 3 new lakes and 2 new brooks by that time, by the time it was settled.
No, we're
So
gonna-
I think
done before that.
we're on the right track now. We're gonna do a quick fix to get this working again. And as Lou said, we'll be working on a long-term process of making Allen Brook like it was when those Gabion walls were
Wow.
new.
We'll
So,
get to the point you'll be tired of seeing us there.
Listen, here's, the first phase is about a week's worth of work, maybe 6 days. The second part is gonna be about 60 days, depending on what what kind of engineering we can do and how quickly we can implement it. the third phase, which is doing the rest of Almond Brook, because it needs to be done, you know, that's gonna be a money thing. And that maybe everybody contacting their representatives and trying to help the town get some money, because it's gonna be a heavy six-figure repair, and I mean heavy six-figure repair.
Right.
So we've got 50,000 to start, we've got another 350,000 on top of that to get that 60-day part of this done. And then we're gonna be figuring out as we're doing this, what it's gonna take to finish this off, so that this brook is for the foreseeable future. Now, I'm gonna steal a phrase that actually Rich taught me the other day. You know, we've got this is a generational thing. You know, it's just, it hasn't been maintained, John's right. Some of these gabion baskets were just put in the worst possible way, and other ones were put in perfectly. It's as if 3 different people stuck their hands in this brook. The ones down by Lake Shore are stacked up, they're top heavy, they're done wrong. There's Charlie's house up on Nokomis, they're laying back at a 45-degree angle, they're in perfect condition. Yeah, it's just, it seems like whoever worked at certain spots did whatever they wanted to do. We're going to try and put it so it's all healthy. It has to be a healthy stream, and that's what we're gonna work towards. So we're gonna ask for everybody's patience, we're gonna do the emergency stuff, we're gonna get what's falling fixed, and then we're gonna figure out how we're gonna do the rest of it. It's not, you know me, this is not going away. We're gonna fix it, and that's gonna be the end of it.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to speak? Just come up, you don't have to raise your hand, just come up. You have to give us your name and your address.
Hi, Patty Wilson, 23 Rockaway.
Terry Wilson, 25 Rockaway.
I was arguing with, just so you
Say your
know,
first name again?
Terry Wilson, or Teresa Wilson.
That's what I know.
and I had an argument with Councilman Levy. I kept saying, no, her name is Terry.
No, I said it's Terry.
No,
He
you said it was Patty.
No,
Well,
he
this is
said it's
Patty.
Patty.
Patty lives
It's
at
Terry.
23.
I know her, talk to her 20
These are the
times.
Wilson sisters, they're very famous.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Now we have both.
Yeah, that would be Ann and Nancy.
Go ahead.
Um,
Oh, did you give your addresses?
yes,
25 Rockaway
And
and
23 Rockaway.
Okay.
23.
25
I got it.
Rockaway.
Okay.
I live next to Terry, we're both Wilson.
With the fence? Is yours the fence?
No.
The
no,
other
Carrie-
side.
Carrie could not make it, she's
Okay.
on a business.
Okay.
No relation. So the day of the storm, I was home and I was looking out my window and I went out back and the water was rising very close to the bank. And I called the police and told them about my concern, and I understand that the DPW is responsible for opening the 36-inch pipe at
No.
Crystal Lake.
That's actually not accurate. So what, no, that's not true either. So the DEP operates by court order the 24-inch pipe. We can't operate the DPW, I'm sorry.
Right.
The DPW operates the 24-inch pipe. The 36-inch pipe is suffering from undermining, and therefore it's not safe for them to go there and operate it. So when the court ordered the town to take control of part of those gate operations, the borough, when NOAA predicts a 1-inch or larger rain, the borough has to open up the 24-inch gate. RML, excuse me?
Sorry, if the 36 was operable,
Yes.
we would be exercising that
Yes.
as well.
Yes, this
But
was
we-
this was from many years ago. We sat together, and Mr. Wolford he's shaking his head yes, that the DPW, we went through all the lawsuits, the consent orders, everything. Yes, DPW would, in fact, I was on vacation, and I was telling our attorney, I was on a cruise without any telephone service. All of a sudden, my phone starts ringing, and it's Mr. Wolford telling me about opening up the gates, and I said, well, I am on the ocean, I don't know, and I told him who to call, but we can't open a pipe that can't open.
Here-
Well, we are supposed to open the
Here-
pipes, you're right.
Here's the thing, so this 24-inch pipe, number one, doesn't have a lot of capacity to do much of anything, not with the kind of water that was coming down. So RML can close that pipe at will. We have no control with it. All we have is a protocol that tells us when to open it. Now, the 36-inch pipe, the one that's along that part of Lake Shore, past the cul-de-sac, that pipe, we can't get to it safely. Our DPW cannot go there safely.
So there's not necessarily anything wrong with the pipe, it's the.
As far as I know, it's the
land
ground is not safe for the
What
DPW.
is-
No,
that what-
and
no.
that's apparently because of damage to the pipe itself.
Someone
what's
had
happened, the
tried
pipe
to,
is
was that
leaking.
for a couple of years ago?
Can you tell me who determined that? That it was unsafe
Our
or
DPW did, there was
DPW.
evidence of a sinkhole there.
there was a
and
sinkhole by
there's-
the pipe?
Yes.
By the pipe, you know, within the area that my workers need to go to operate the gate. And we're not gonna go there while it's in that condition.
We get notification as
So
soon as
my
we know about
question,
the heavy
so
rains.
then RML could open the 36-inch pipe
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
at will?
I would assume so, yes. It's their
We get
property.
notification when the rains come or it's predicted, we get notification from Anthony, our DPW supervisor. Because of the prediction, the pipe will be opened.
But to be clear, it's not a random decision. It's not, it doesn't matter what Channel 7 says, it doesn't matter what Fox News says. This is off of the National Oceanographic and Atmospheric, NOAA. It's off of the NOAA website. When
I'm
NOAA
familiar.
says inch, pipe is open. There's no decision, it's not should we, shouldn't we.
But it's the one
inch.
pipe.
And I think there's a time, isn't it, like 1 inch
24 hours.
in 4 hours or something?
Within 24 hours
Yeah.
or so.
So that's the sole criteria that the town works from,
That's what the town works from, but I could reach out to RML
correct?
Yes.
and they could open.
It's their pipe.
All right, I just
Yes.
wanna know,
Yes.
because I was under the understanding that the responsibility for the pipe had been I'm well versed with RML, I was on the board for many years. I know what you're talking about.
Right.
But it was my understanding that it was turned over to the town.
Only the opening, not the closing. RML.
But
Do
but
we
you're
have a
not gonna.
consent
but
order?
It's okay, but you're not gonna open
remember the
36-inch pipe, that's just what
Not
I.
until it's safe. No, we
That's-
can't, we
that's
can't,
what I-
property
we can't
is
put our
safe.
DPW in danger.
Because I just heard you saying that the water was not rushing
We didn't change anything.
east? Is that east of?
No, what I said was, the day after the first event, we went up and looked at the stream house, that little
Yeah.
stream going underneath the stream house. It was flowing at a very, very low rate in comparison to what across the street was doing.
Okay.
And then to further that, I went up behind Rabari. When you go, not Rabari. When you go in the self-storage place, you go to the back,
Yeah.
hang a right, there's a split, you go up to the horse farm,
Yeah.
I have
or
it.
there's a set of tracks. If you
I've walked
walk
it.
through that gate and go and look, there's a brook back there.
Yeah.
That brook feeds from Cali Lake. That brook is what feeds into the DOT's drainage facility by 287. It comes down somewhere by Rabari, it makes a turn, it goes under the highway, and that's where it feeds in. So I wanted to see if that was moving even at roughly the same velocity as the DOT. It wasn't. The drainage out of Cali Lake at that point was pretty negligible.
Okay.
This was all runoff. As a matter of fact, in the DOT's drainage facility, right by that retaining wall they built, there is a outflow pipe that comes from a storm drain, I believe on Franklin, that had almost no water coming out of it. I mean, literally a trickle. So everything was coming from 287 at that point.
If you were on the board,
And those were the velocities that we were.
if you were on the board back in the 70s, that consent order, there's a consent order between RML.
I'm sorry, I was
She's not-
12.
No, but I thought maybe you would have a copy when you were on the
Yeah.
board of the consent order, that it was not changed. Otherwise, you could get one from Borough Hall, of the consent order between RML and the town on the pipe issue.
I understand, I'm okay with
Okay.
that
Yeah.
I have enough information with that,
Okay.
that's fine. But,
Well, then another question is, and I know some of our neighbors are here today, the trees and the debris that comes down the brook and it goes into the lake and it blocks the dam, who's responsible for removing that debris? Because I know that's a concern for a lot of lake owners. At this point, there's, even though it didn't,
You mean
It's in the conduit
it
going
comes
into
through
the
Allerman
lake.
Brook
It's
down
not the lake
into,
area.
Oh, it's in the brook?
The
it
brook
comes
is
from the brook from
Linda, if you
Allen and
remember,
Brook.
about 10 years
Yes,
ago,
we had cleaned it
I
up.
brought in the Bergen County Mosquito
Yeah, they
Commission.
cleaned it out.
And we cleaned it, do you remember
Well,
that?
currently
We
there's-
scoured out the entrance of the lake from Allen
It
Brook.
was around
Just to provide
2012,
an entrance of water.
2012,
And it took care of it.
2013.
Over a limited period of time. So,
Well,
we
I
did
know
take
now that
emergency,
they're concerned about some debris there now blocking the dam and causing concern for their property.
Well, you
So,
know
I
what,
mean,
they'll be
there's-
going in with the machine, and when they start coming around, John, are you listening?
John,
John
yeah,
Yukimic,
Yeah, I don't know if I can get a machine there.
Because we're not going.
but you're listening,
I am listening though.
Yeah, because that is a concern for some of the residents.
and it should be. In
All right,
fact, that's what I said,
I'll check
can
it
we
out.
get a picture, we'll get a copy? In fact, that's what I told the governor
Yes,
about what's going on. It's not just that, I mean, it's, a lot is coming down. It's waste, it's vegetation waste, it's trees, we don't know what else is coming down. Oh, I see.
Terry, I was down there. I went down
Can you
there
bring
last
that over
night.
to
I
our
was coming back
engineer?
from dinner.
Thank you.
And actually, Tony's wife called me, because, you know, thank you. She's nice, I like talking to her.
okay.
So what you have right now is on the spillway at the end of the lake shore, you know, just past the cul-de-sac, there's 2 or 3 pretty good-sized trees laying on the spillway.
Right,
That's private property. That's RML's property.
but it came through from the storm.
You know, we have a resident that lives up on Skyline Drive, and he has a problem with a neighbor, he thinks, that may be dumping in a stream that I guess runs in between their properties. You know, and again, the problem is that we have no proof. If these trees, wherever they came from, if somebody says, here, I saw somebody cut down a tree, I have a video of this person cutting down a tree and dumping it into the stream, or letting it fall into the stream and not fixing it, or not mitigating it, that's a violation of the law. We actually have stream dumping ordinances, and they're,
He's on the Shade Tree Commission.
Okay.
no, I'm actually, well, that's true, I am. So we have laws against stream dumping, it's a flood commission thing.
Right,
And actually, you know, it's like, I think it's $125 or up to $125 for stream dumping per occurrence. That means that if you somebody cuts down a tree and lets it fall in the brook, if the construction official goes there and they have proof that they did it, they can fine them $125 on Monday.
right.
If it's not out of there on Tuesday, they can fine them $125 on Tuesday. And they can do that indefinitely, or the town certainly has the right to go in, do the work, and I guess, is it assess the property, Rich, or
You can lean it.
lien the property, I'm sorry.
Okay. You know, I'm not really sure that it came from a homeowner. I believe, from the storms, the recent storms that we had, the debris is accumulating in that area.
It would seem more likely that it was caused by the running water that eroded the property, that took a tree down because the root system couldn't hold anymore.
Well, chances, yes, but from
It's common sense.
from the sides of the property that are supposed to have, the support and the cavians that are there that are eroding.
Here's the thing with Gay Beyond Bad, I think you and I had this discussion.
No, I know, we've had a lot.
You know, and John was right. Gay Beyond Baskets have about a 9-year maintenance cycle, which means every 9 years you should be looking at them. You know,
So
one
that
of the
brings up
things,
a question, who should have been looking at it?
that's a really good question.
We
because
don't
the
know
answer
at
is
this
we don't
point.
know.
That's what we're fighting with the
We
state,
don't
and we're
know.
gonna
The
fight
state-
with the
state
federal.
doesn't- The state says it's not them, the county says it's not them, the borough certainly didn't dig it out.
So we recently had a conversation with a homeowner. At the time, they believed that, and
John Daly knows.
I think you know Buzz Dressel. He said that it was the town's responsibility, that's how it was, that to maintain the brook or stream, whatever, Allen Brook, which hasn't been done.
He explained how.
But how does he
said-
know that?
Because he lives, he's
Yeah,
a
but-
he lives on Allen Brook. He lived there at the time that it was constructed.
Right.
He was involved with the construction company, which was Fletcher Kramer.
But just
He can
by the
tell
way-
you I'm just gonna pass on
Yeah.
information that
No,
he
I know,
gave
but I
us,
want
and
you
I'm
to know that
not.
we actually contacted Fletcher Kramer.
And
They were bought by another company
They were
about
bought-
4 years ago.
So that's why
and
they're
they-
saying they didn't do it.
They
because-
denied any.
Well, that's
Well,
because-
they would, because they're new owners as of about 4 years ago.
Right.
This is the information that was given to us. But he lived on the brook. He was involved with, he was very closely involved with the construction company. He was not on the board. He was not a councilman.
Yeah.
But he is in the construction trade, and he had good working
Wow.
relationships with Fletcher Kramer. And as they were doing it, and Buzz relayed the whole story of how the brook was constructed, and it was done specifically that it was deep enough and wide enough that a pickup truck could go up the brook. It was
And who
paid
paid
for.
them to do that?
It was, the brook was constructed with funds from the county.
Oh, okay.
If this information is all correct, this
Third
is what I
time
was
I've heard the county
told.
mention.
And that with the understanding that the town would maintain it. It was built deep enough and wide enough
For a skip
for
loader or
a
for.
pickup truck with a skip loader to
Mm-hmm.
go up the brook and maintain it and clear it out. I know that
Underneath the bridge.
underneath the bridge, with access from the property,
The
which
bridge
is
on Lake Shore.
Right, the Lake Shore Bridge.
underneath the Lakeshore Bridge with access that the new house is on. There's the lake,
Mhm.
and then the brook, and then a new house. That was supposed to be the access point.
But that wasn't, the problem is, I don't think that property was actually an easement. So the weird thing about because I've been looking at county tax maps, our tax map. I think John Yakimic, our engineer, pulled a 2010 survey.
1944.
1944.
That's before us.
So
Yes,
we
way
have looked at everything. The weird thing with this is, the only access easement that we have found so far is up by Route 202.
And
That's the only way in and out of that stream right now.
is that
other
the
than
same,
the
is that the
property.
same, is it the same size as Lakeshore Bridge?
Width and height?
No, that's a culvert. It's not, no, access.
It's not,
It's
okay,
not,
so-
it's basically a piece of property that there's an access easement. We have that, whoever, we, the county, the state,
So the
whoever
bo-
has the right to use that
Is it still
piece.
there?
So the bottom line
Yes, needs
is,
to be
we
deep
don't
shrub,
know.
yes.
that's
We
the,
don't know,
that's
I'm
the
just
real
relaying
answer.
to you,
Right.
and
information.
Which is
we'll
why-
look, we will look
Right.
and see what else we can find.
Right, which is why we're
But-
doing the emergency
Appreciate that.
right now, and that gives
There
us
isn't
some
one.
time to delve into. Mr. Pritchard was very helpful with what he
Yes.
I
has,
know, that's the
his,
part that's-
his
that's the-
resources, and we can look into this,
Called pond.
and we can say, look, it's the county, it's the state, it's the federal government, but in the meantime, we have to give you relief. So this gives us some time to do this, and if whatever you come up with, please let us
I
know.
will
Well,
take-
that's what
I
I'm
will
trying to
take
share with
any-
you. I'm not negating what, I'm sorry,
Mr. Pritchard.
Mr. Pritchard said. I'm just telling the information that we have been given by somebody who's
Sarah,
very
you have my
closely
number,
involved
right?
with it.
Yes.
Listen, anytime you guys wanna call me, I will take any help in trying to
Yes.
get this resolved for everybody. You know, we're just,
So
we're
can I-
running into a roadblock every time we talk to the state, every time we talk to the county. Nobody wants to be responsible.
So let me understand something about the repair that you're saying, the
Yes, ma'am.
repair.
Right
is
now,
that-
you mean the
It's a
immediate-
temporary repair. Is that going to be removed once you determine who's responsible for fixing the entire Allen Brook, or is that?
All right, so what's gonna happen is, starting hopefully Monday or Tuesday, for about a 5 or 6 day period, we are going to construct an access road from Fernando's property.
Right.
Everybody know where we're talking about?
64 Lake Shore, I'm
Right.
sorry.
It's
So we're
close to
gonna
the beach.
construct an access, we have to get access, and it can't be access way up by Route
Right.
202, because it would take us forever to do the job if we had to go in and out at the complete opposite end. So Fernando is very kindly, he hasn't actually, we had to make a couple changes just for times
For
for
an
him.
easement,
And,
we have to have a written agreement.
and he sent us, so we've sent them back the agreements, I'm sure they're gonna be signed. So Monday, we're gonna go in, we're gonna build this road. We are gonna do whatever we can to keep Kerry's Wall, which is imminently in danger of coming down, to get that sort of up, I guess the way John Yakimic explained it, up one level up. So it's not imminent, but it's one level better than imminent. We're gonna take some of those big boulders that the brook has kindly deposited down there, and we're gonna use those to to stabilize your bank to keep it from continually coming down. Now, the next phase, this thing that we think is gonna take 60 days, that's gonna cost.
From this week coming up, 60 days,
You can't hold me to it. Number one, there's
Okay.
weather. Number
Okay.
two, we have to,
Yeah.
it's $400,000.
no, I understand the
So-
expense.
Phase two is going to be, either we will incorporate some of the things that we did to your property as
Right.
part of the permanent repair, or we may have to do additional, we may have to take whatever we did away from you to do something different that's gonna be more permanent. The answer to what's in front of Kerry's house, which is 66, is that wall has to go, and we have to put something else in its place, because that wall is inherently unstable. It was a bad design. Whoever put the gabion baskets stacked up like that and then put a concrete cap on it,
Yeah.
made it a very
We don't know.
top-heavy structure.
Right.
It's not safe. It's trying to sort of rotate into the brook. So we have to put something else that we may use. John, what's the name of the block? He hates it when I call them mafia blocks.
You have to be kind to our Italian-American friends. They're called concrete
John Russ, no
segmental.
offense.
Why'd you
no
call it
offense.
that?
What it is, it basically, I explained it, Terry, to you. I think.
They're called concrete segmental block. And it's a-
Basically, when concrete
it's just
concrete
building
factories
blocks.
make concrete, they have stuff left over, they have a form. They pour these big blocks, and the blocks have on the top, it's sort of like a male keyway. And on the bottom of the block, there's a female keyway. So it's sort of like a tongue and groove block. The idea is you can stack the you have to handle them with a crane, they're very heavy, but the idea is that they lock into each other. So this way, or actually, it's more like they sort of lock in like this. So it's a good product when you when you need to build a vertical wall, which is what we need to do by Kerry's house. We can't angle hers back, because then the bridge is taking the force of all the water. So we're gonna somewhere between, the bridge and your property, we're gonna start with this, whatever John just called it, I call it, We're gonna put this block up so that we have a smooth transition for the water from the channel under the bridge, because we don't wanna damage the bridge. Then we're gonna transition to something more like what we're gonna do at your property, which is gonna be something with a natural slope to it. It will probably be something using large diameter boulders. We happen to have some in town that we can use if we need to. And then we're gonna go up as far as we need for this emergency repair, so that we can make a safe transition. It doesn't pay to try and fix one spot, two spot, if the next house up, if your house, for
Yeah,
example,
it's your house.
is,
Next, yeah.
if your bank is questionable and we don't fix your bank, it's going to fail, and it's gonna make what we did to her house fail.
Right.
So somewhere there is a natural spot where we will be able to stop, because we have the emergency permit that we have has limits. And one of the reasons we're going so fast with this is we wanna make sure that the DEP sees movement on this every day. We want them to understand, we want this to continue to be an emergency in their mind. And we are hoping that we can we'll see what we can get and how far we can go on the emergency permit. But once we're done with that, the rest of this has to be done with a regular permit, and it's going to be time consuming. And the other part of this, obviously, is the other side of the channel, which is now, for lack of a better word, contaminated with sediment. We have to get rid of that sediment, because, basically, you've got this, what's supposed to be, let's say, a 30-some-odd foot wide channel.
Right.
There's spots where it's only 20 foot wide. Well, if you have 5,000 gallons of water coming down that channel, and it's supposed to be going at 1 cubic foot per second, because it's in a 30-foot channel, and the math is just, it's off the top of my head, I'm making up. When you reduce that channel by 50%, 30%, 40%, you're still moving the same water. In order to get through there, now it has to go much faster. And that's what's causing the erosion. So when we make the channel, or restore the channel to where it's supposed to be, it's gonna take the low event velocities, slow them down, so that the channel will have the banks will have a better chance of stabilizing and becoming more healthy, so that when we do get the higher flows, it will be a little safer. And we can certainly get, John can speak to it obviously more than I can.
Doing pretty good.
Yeah, I could never have explained
I
this, which
learned
is
it-
why I'm letting
I
Lucy.
learned it from him. Him and actually
So-
There was no way I could have explained any of
Are you
this.
gonna take some of that debris
I do.
in the
I
temporary
do.
fix?
Thank you, Pat.
John, are you gonna take some of that debris
Sediment.
with the sediment
What?
on the
we are-
opposite side of my
Oh,
house?
yes, absolutely.
So you will make it a little wider at the time of this?
Oh, no, we're
Not,
gonna
not
make
a
it
little wide,
wider.
a lot wider.
Oh, yeah, okay, a lot wider.
It's gonna be a
At the
lot-
Put it
time-
this way, the pickup truck will be able to go back up, maybe not.
Right,
Okay.
right now.
It'll be wide enough, whether or not anybody wants to actually drive their and nobody should drive their pickup truck in the channel. Anybody has a pickup
You
truck.
can't get underneath the bridge at this point. You
Yes.
used to be able to.
Yes, it used to be a
Tony, that
lot
means
taller.
you.
We might be able to get out from under the bridge by Friday next week.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's
We're
good.
bringing
That's
in,
gonna-
the contractor's bringing in a dredging excavator, which
Okay.
will reach under the bridge and we'll drag everything backwards.
Okay.
Have you had a chance to walk up the brook?
No, the
Yes.
water.
Not yet, it's part of the plan, that's phase 2.
So I noticed, and I'm just speaking from my property, that the gabion baskets are 4, 5, 6, however many
Yeah.
courses. The bottom course,
The rocks are gone.
They're gone.
so there is, it's undermined
Right.
at this, on my property at this moment. I don't know the rest of the
So
brook.
here's the difference. It's almost behind your house, 40 Nokomis. Charlie, I keep calling him Charlie. Oh, there you are.
Here I am.
So we actually, Nick Agnoli and the contractor,
That's the other engineer.
we went behind his property. He actually has the same thing. He's got some of the rocks are out of the bottom of his, but whoever did his wall did it textbook. It's leaning back at about 40 degrees. It's not going anywhere. It's stable as the world. So what we're gonna do, probably by his house, when we can get to it, is we're just gonna rewire the baskets. You know, so that we maybe we'll put some more rocks under the bottom. We're gonna rewire it. It's fine. We can't do carries that way because it's gone. Hers is done. We looked, do you have Gabion by yours?
Yes.
Is that the house with all the shoaling?
With all the what?
Or is that the house next house?
I'm
up?
right,
the house
I'm directly
next to
right
mine.
next door.
No, I
to
know.
you.
The
but
other side.
When we were back by Charlie's house,
Oh, okay.
we looked across and there was a house that had a lot of shoaling.
That was 17.
Yeah,
okay.
and their baskets, I think, are,
No, I don't think they have
See their
baskets. They're gone.
There's so much dirt up against it.
yeah.
They're gone.
So when you do the fix for my house and for Carrie's house, are we gonna, get back the property that we lost?
Don't know yet.
Oh.
That's the honest answer.
Okay,
I don't know yet.
All right.
well, that's an issue because I won't be able to put a fence back up.
You have a shed at the edge.
Well,
All right.
I'm obsessed with
but
your shed.
I know, but I had, I believe, at least 10 feet of dirt that I was able to have a fence. There was, you know.
Well, let's see how it goes this week. We'll be able to speak more concretely.
Again, we're working very fast to get in there and do this.
Right
We
now,
have
it's
to-
just
We have to
so-
stabilize it, and then we can start to think about, once you're out of danger, once Kerry's out of danger, you know, once Patty Wilson is out of danger,
Right.
we can start to think about what we're gonna do. Right now, the focus is stabilize it and stop the damage.
Okay.
Eradicate the
So
danger.
are you coming all the way up to the height of my property?
Don't know yet,
Okay.
not there yet.
We'll have more definitive answers once they start working. It's like anything else. You don't know what you're going to find. You know, you have this plan, you go in, you have a plan to do a certain amount of work.
Okay.
And then you find unexpected. So we'll
Okay.
have a better answers for you next time.
Wait, I do have one quick question for anybody who's been here forever and ever. In the middle of that brook is a big square piece of concrete, dead center in the middle of the channel.
That
I will buy a cup of coffee to somebody who can tell me what it's doing.
It wasn't there before the,
It wasn't there before this, it was not there.
It
I told
wasn't?
you that, no, it was not.
It's a
Really?
concrete.
Wait, no, not the big rock that's sitting
No,
up in
I
the
know,
middle.
we looked at that big
It's a
rectangle.
square concrete.
Rectangle type.
That came down the channel and landed perfectly straight, dead center in
That
the
was
channel.
not there. That was not there prior to that Thursday
Is it
storm.
upstream or downstream of the bridge?
It's right near the
Prior-
bridge.
Upstream, 30 feet upstream, dead center.
it wasn't there
It's like
before
the
the storm.
model.
Prior to what storm?
Really?
Yes, it's like the monolith in
It's been there for
2001.
years, I fished that river.
That,
Yes,
that's
that
the
square
last-
Oh,
thing has
Tony
been there
says
for
it's
years.
been there. Tony Smith said it's been
Over
there.
the bridge going upstream?
Absolutely. I walked that river or that stream for years.
That's the board of your house and Carrie's house.
Yeah,
Okay, so-
I
all right.
live right there.
So-
All right, we have to keep it, I'm sorry.
Here's the thing.
No, the water could not have moved
Alright.
that rock.
All right, Mr.
Okay.
Smith, thank you for your
Thank you.
information.
Could not have moved that cement.
All right, so at this point, we don't have all the answers to all your questions, but as the work, and as you'll see them working, if you speak to them, they will have more of a way to talk to you about it.
Mayor, every step of the way while we're out there, we'll be checking with the residents on
Thank you.
everything that we do.
Excellent.
So,
Yeah, I mean, I
we're not
think-
gonna do anything without checking with you first.
And he's very good, he will talk to you.
I know that.
He has talked to you.
Yes, yes.
And one other issue I just shared with John was, I was told by Anthony that some of this brook actually comes through corrugated pipe. And the corrugated pipe, upstream a little bit, it's a corrugated pipe for about 70% of the pipe. The bottom of the pipe is gone.
Okay.
So as the water rushes through, everything that's underneath that pipe gets scoured. And that's part of your sediment
And it
issue.
gets deposited.
And
in the
that's
brook.
why, as I said, once they start working and they find all these things,
Okay,
we'll see some light.
okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. Hi.
Hello, Mitchell Weiss, 163 Lakeshore Drive. I'll make it quick. 2 weeks ago, we had that big storm.
That was when Mr.
Thursday.
Wolford called me, yes.
Yeah. And the water came through at 161 Lakeshore Drive. My neighbor, who has had a contractor put a opening in the bulkhead so that he could have a private area to go right into the lake. Anyways, Crystal Lake went right through that opening.
At 161
inundated-
Lake Shore?
161, yeah. And it, water all over my yard, his yard, and my house was flooded. The furnace room and the garage were all flooded, half a foot of water. We were told at the time that he put that in, we protested that it would flood. He was told that he got the approval from the town engineer.
Wasn't me.
It was you?
I don't know.
was not.
I don't know who it was.
Who is it? Who is 161?
Pole contractors they did the construction. And they said that they got approval from the
This
town.
is Paul's house?
Old landscape.
Paul Landscape.
Landscape
Pole
didn't work.
Landscape.
I know who they are. It's their house?
No, it's not
No,
their
they did the
house,
work.
no.
Oh, they did the work.
Yeah, they did the work.
How many years ago?
And
Who was the
so,
resident?
I don't know his name, I can't pronounce it. But anyways, I would like, appreciate it if you'd look into that and see how they got approval to put a,
Mr. Kunz, did you
A,
write down that
opening.
address?
I did, I'll follow up with John and with,
And with
as
our-
well,
in our
John-
building
John
department,
Whitakin,
zoning.
And John, you kind of.
because the water came
We'll see
right
if there was
through
a
on
permit
Lakeshore
issue or not.
Drive. It flooded Lakeshore, we had to have the police come and close.
When was this done? A while ago?
No, this, one was the whole done, it was done, I think, 2 years ago.
Oh, recently?
Yeah.
Is that the one with the
Yeah.
beach? The little bit of beach? We have pictures of it.
And,
161. We're gonna check this out.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for telling us.
Okay.
And sorry about your house.
Sheila Boylan, 16 Walnut Street. I'm very familiar with Alderman Brook because I worked, believe it or not, many years ago at Swenson's when they did the work.
Yes, that was when the brook runs
That's
along.
when they did the work. And I've been a member at Crystal Lake. And I understand all the problems they're having, but I live on Winterbrook. And I just got wiped out. 33 years ago, they added I get all the runoff from Demarest. And they've added a second storm drain so that I wouldn't get flooded. I have pictures of mud and debris up against my house, 3 feet high. They said, oops, that's a problem.
Who's they?
It was Boswell Engineering. No offense.
He's right down there at the end.
No, it wasn't him, it was the original. And I'm talking 33 years ago.
Hoc
And,
Committee.
he said,
That's Jim
oh, okay,
Kelly.
well, we're gonna fix it so you don't get the water from Demarest anymore, and they put an extra storm drain. The pipe runs out to the brook. A week and a half later, or 2 weeks later, half my yard was missing.
You said you're
Because
16 Walnut?
all the 16 Walnut.
Would you, after this, go over to John, our
I
engineer,
have
and
a
have him
folder
talk to
this
him?
high. I've been fighting this for whatever.
But this is the first we're hearing about it.
Well, yes. 33 years ago, the town said, oh, okay. They let me get a construction company back there. I paid $5,000 out of my own pocket to put boulders this high, which, some of which are about to go. The storms for the past 2 weeks
Right.
have been horrendous. My issue, and then the DPW comes, oh, well, let nature take its course. I'm okay with nature.
Right.
It's the storm drain that's killing me. It's just above my property, and I'm the next piece down.
I know where you are, I know your house.
Well, you've been there,
Yes.
yeah.
So could you, after this, go
I'm
over?
We had a 50-pound rock. I had the wall built, a 50-pound rock. I weigh 110 pounds on a heavy day. I could not move it. I couldn't put it back up. I couldn't do anything with it. The last storm, it's missing. I don't know where it is. It's
The boulder?
downstream. Yes, a 50-pound rock.
Oh, maybe it's
No, it's not by you.
Carrier patties.
No, it's not by you. I mean, 50 pounds, I could
All
pick up
right,
50
so
pounds.
at the end, after you finish speaking, go at the end, speak to John Yakimic.
I mean, I'd love
He's
to.
our engineer from Boswell.
Well, DPW told me that they were gonna send him over to my house, and I haven't seen Hydrology
John, have you
yet.
ever been notified about 16 Walnut?
No, but I was out on Laurel Court this week about another complaint, since.
Oh, well, Laurel Court's another issue, because it's the same
Yeah, so
brook.
I'm working on that one right now.
And the other thing that, when, I'm not going back, because I've been there 39 years.
No, I'm going to.
When Ridgewood Associates owned that property, and they wanted to develop it,
Mhm.
and I have all the
You
paperwork.
talking about Laurel Court?
No, actually, it's now Stewart Wood, and I thank
Oh,
her
Stewart
every
Park.
day, the
Yes.
sweet part. When Ridgewood Associates owned that property, they couldn't get a perk test, they couldn't get water management, they couldn't get anything. 6 o'clock in the morning, I think in I'm gonna say 92, I have the paperwork, 91, came down from Magnomi with giant cranes and diverted the brook. It used to run right through the middle of the property. They diverted it, now runs about along the back of my property. I fought that for so many years. Betsy Stagg was gonna fix it, Pete Kendall was gonna fix, I can
That's
do
the
history
90s,
here. Nothing ever happened, nobody did anything. DP came in and said, oh, they definitely moved it. And they supposedly fined them $1,000 a day, which nobody ever paid. They sold the property, and that guy couldn't develop it, and now the town owns it. And Betsy Stagg said to me, oh, well, we can't change the path of the brook. I said, no, it was already changed. I can't say bad things about her because the woman's dead.
Right.
So, I mean, I have the sweetest little piece of property, smack in the middle of town, 2 blocks, I'm right across from the police station.
Gosh, we know where you are.
I'm in a little, as Dorothy would say, our little glen. But it's, this is killing me. I've for 33 years, I've been going out there every rain, picking the rocks up. We did it again today. I do what I can do, but the sediment is like this high now. The people next to me do nothing. But the storm drain empties on their property. So now the DPW says to me, we don't have a right-of-way on your property, we can't help you.
Well, guess what? We will send help with John Yakimic.
I love
Right,
my
John?
spot.
Absolutely.
I love my spot, I don't want to give it up,
Yeah, I'll check it out, Mayor.
but
He'll come visit you.
I just hired somebody to send me 3 guys with shovels, because you can't get back there with equipment anymore. And
Well, John's gonna come.
I'm a little nutty about my property. I'm very meticulous. I trim, and I just, it's upsetting me.
All right, just go over,
Tremendous.
go talk to John.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
I'm getting water is water.
I'm racing
But
you
it's
up
the
here.
store.
I beat you. Trudy Derbyshire, and I'm at 181 Lake Shore Drive. I understand what you're gonna do with Allerman Brook. You're gonna clean it up, you're gonna make it wider, and I think what you're doing.
Don't ask me for details because I can't explain it.
And I understand and what you're gonna do is marvelous, and it's gonna make the everything flow easier into the lake, so Mitch can flood quicker. I'm a little bit concerned, I mean, I wanna see Allerman Brook cleaned up. And you said we can't prove that these trees came down Allerman Brook. I saw them, I swear to you. The trees, those pictures that you see of those trees laying on the brook, I took those pictures and I watched them come into our lake and float past my house. Whenever it rains, it's scary. I mean, I invite you all to come to 181 Lakeshore Drive the next big rain. Come on down. I guarantee the road will be closed, you won't be able to leave, you know, so you can just enjoy yourself and pray that the water doesn't come up into the house.
And that's with the gate open, with the,
And that's with the one pipe open, the other one's broken, we need help. I've been begging for help, I've come before you
I
before.
know, we've talked
You know,
about that.
and I'm thrilled that this is gonna be coming quickly, because it really frightens me, hurricane season's coming. You know, I mean,
We have to figure out about that other pipe, about,
something, please,
yeah, the
we need
36
help.
inch, how we can, you know, something, we're gonna
And
look into that
something
too.
to stop the debris from coming into the lake. I mean, I said, hey, let's just put up a chain link fence, if nothing's coming down Allerman Brook into the lake, no problem. You know? But we've gotta stop that stuff that's coming into the lake as well, because that's doing all kinds of damage.
Like I
You know?
said earlier, when they start working, their eyes will be more open to see what really has to be done and what's going on there.
Yeah, we've got so many problems, and I wanna thank each and every one of you for working so hard to get this quick fix before hurricane season. I mean, when we had the last rain and Mitch flooded, we were all really, really nervous. I mean, I'm thrilled. I love living on Lakeshore Drive. I love living on the side of Lakeshore Drive that I'm on. We are probably the closest street in all of Oakland. And we got that way because of the floods. Because every time we get a lot of rain and we flood, we go to each and every neighbor. We all get together. We all help each other out. I know every neighbor up and down the entire street.
Well, then who's at 161?
I don't know which
Oh.
numbers. I do know the people. I can't remember their name.
We're gonna
And they're
check it out.
fairly new.
We are
It's a
going to
nice
check it
big
out.
house, yeah.
And we will, I'm so sorry, Mr. Weiss, we will make the inquiries.
Thank you so much for everything you're doing.
Mr. Walford,
I got the letter, you got it too.
last time we spoke, I was on the ocean.
Yeah.
So was
I
he.
still
So
feel
was he.
guilty about that, I feel so bad, but anyway.
No, you're the only call I got through on my phone, of all the people.
William Wolford, 162 Lakeshore Drive. I just to back up what Mitch had to say. I went to the building department a couple of days after the event of when the lake came over and went into his house, came into my garage, and went into Jimmy Vulgaris's garage, went into his house. That retaining wall was taken out. They put a beach in there. And I went down to the building department, and to their knowledge, no permits were issued. for
So
that project.
you're saying that the removal of the retaining
They
wall
took out 10 feet of retaining wall.
is caused an additional, it's an additional factor in the flooding on Lake Shore?
They sure did, because that's where it came over first.
Okay,
that's
thank
it.
you for telling me.
Yep, thank you very much.
Anyone else?
Motion to close.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have an open portion again at the end, so, and then stay here for the resolutions. Approval of the minutes, June 26, 2019, is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Councilman Biallo.
Yes.
Councilman Net.
Yes.
Councilman Kamala.
Yes.
Councilman Levy.
Yes.
Councilman Pivotalli.
Yes.
Councilman Talamini.
Yes.
The minutes from July 10th, 2019.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Councilman Biallo.
Yes.
Councilman Net.
Yes.
Councilman Kamala.
Yes.
Councilman Levy.
Yes.
Councilman Pivotalli.
Yes.
Councilman Talamini.
Yes.
Now you have executive meeting minutes from June 26, 2019. If there's going to be any discussion, it must be done during executive. Is there a motion?
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Councilman Biallo.
Yes.
Councilman Net.
Yes.
Councilman Kamala.
Yes.
Councilman Levy.
Yes.
Councilman Pivotalli.
Yes.
Councilman Talamini.
Yes.
Executive committee meeting minutes from July 10th,
So
same.
moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Councilman Biallo.
Yes.
Councilman Net.
Yes.
Councilman Kamala.
Yes.
Councilman Levy.
Yes.
Councilman Pivotalli.
Yes.
Councilman Talamini.
Yes.
We have appointments. We have a recommendation from Callie O'Neill, who would like to go on the Environmental Commission and the Open Green Team. And Callie is a junior at Indian Hills High School, part of the Indian Hills High School Environmental Club, and currently a junior at Indian Hills High School.
I highly recommend her appointment. She's
For
an
both?
asset,
Excellent.
yeah, very good asset.
Excellent. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Raffle license. We have raffle license 1362 for the Reed Foundation for Autism. They want to hold an off-premise raffle January 7, 2020 at 25 Potash Road.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Biallo.
Yes.
Councilman Net.
Yes.
Councilman Kamala.
Yes.
Councilman Levy.
Yes.
Councilman Pivotalli.
Yes.
Councilman Talamini.
Yes.
Now I'm going to do the resolutions, and I'll do this as a consent agenda. If you wish any pulled down, just let me know. Resolution 19208 is to accept the donation of a sculpture, and it is Swords to Plowsheds by Peter Marklis, a local artist. He's consulted with the Great Oak Park Committee, who indicated the location, and the mayor and council he's asking for the mayor to consider the offer made for the donation of the sculpture and deems it is in the best interest of the borough to accept the sculpture, and it will be on a seat wall pedestal and shall be installed in Great Oak Park at no expense to the borough.
So moved.
No, I'm doing a consent
Consent.
agenda.
All of them.
Yes.
That's what we do every week, John.
Want to move it?
Resolution 190209 is to reject the bid for the roller hockey rink. We received bids on July 2nd. The base bid for one bid received was in excess of the budget and available funding established by the borough. So this is a rejection of the bids.
Mayor?
19,
Mayor?
yeah.
Just one comment on that. John, you can fill in as needed. I think at the last meeting, we talked about maybe kind of bifurcating that project and doing some work under the road program and then doing the Vasher board system bid separately. But I know John's been doing some research and having some discussions with staff in his office, and they recommend that we just go back out to bid. They feel confident that we can get some new bidders that are gonna come in closer to their estimates.
Okay, so that's the rejection of the bid on
Right,
209.
we'll be sending the new ad to the paper tomorrow to re-advertise that project.
Well, not to worry, because here's another one for Boswell. Authorize Boswell Engineering Water Use and Conservation Management Plan for the preparation of such a plan, and for engineering services, not to exceed $58,000. 19212 is authorized refund of recreation fees, and to Charlie Forsdale, $125 for the summer softball camp, and Amy Patel, 8 Point View, for $240 for the summer baseball camp. 19213 is extend the grace period for tax payments, which I had said earlier. Since the tax bills have just come out, the grace period will be extended from August 1st, so you have until August 26th. Anything after August 26th will be considered late. 19214 is to refund taxes, block 1702, lot 32, to Lynn Crimmett, in the amount of $46.53. 19-215, resolution authorizing emergency appropriation to NJSA 40A:4-46 due to damage caused by the erosion of Alaman Brook. This is the emergency funding, and the resolution is for up to $50,000 and 3% of the total operations of the budget for the 2019 is $585,232.02. 19-217 is authorized consent to TWA application. 19-218 is authorized execution of municipal alliance grant agreement, and it allows myself, Mayor Linda Schwager, and CFO David Young to execute the municipal alliance grant agreement on behalf of the borough.
So moved.
I'm not finished.
No, I'm sorry.
Just gotta get in there, don't you?
Did you read the last one, 2/18?
No, you didn't agree that there were two additional
Oh, there's
resolutions.
two additional. Ah, I didn't have that on my agenda.
It's right there.
I have to control myself, okay. Resolution 19-219 is remember when we talked about part-time?
Yes.
We have to appoint a part-time tax clerk in the finance department. And that is Pearl Vinces, as part-time at $30 an hour, effective July 25th, 2019. And the last one is Resolution 219-220, appoint a part-time account clerk, and that's a temporary part-time account clerk in the finance department. We had a vacancy. If anybody has ever dealt with Sue Eisman, she has resigned. She decided to leave Oakland for Hackensack. So, this will allow us to hire a part-time clerk, Olivia Dimitri, at $30 an hour, starting July 25th, 2019. Now, Councilman.
moved.
No, Councilman.
So moved.
Second. Is there any you wish pulled out?
No.
If not, roll call.
Councilman Bianchi.
Yes.
Councilman Knapp.
Yes.
Councilman Kamala.
Yes.
Councilman Levy.
Yes.
Councilman Pinicelli.
Yes.
Councilman Talamini.
Yes.
We have an introduction of Ordinance 19 Code 788. This is just the introduction. An ordinance to repeal and replace Chapter 14 of the Code of the Borough of Oakland entitled Flood Damage Prevention. There a motion to introduce?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Bianchi.
Yes.
Councilman Knapp.
Yes.
Councilman Kamala.
Yes.
Councilman Levy.
Yes.
Councilman Pinicelli.
Yes.
Councilman Talamini.
Yes.
And the final hearing will be?
August 14th.
Work session agenda items. Anybody wish? We don't have any. New business. Anybody have new business? Old business.
I have some new
Oh,
business.
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Recently, I've become aware of, there's some utility companies the electric companies are setting up programs with people who have, the whole house standby generators on their property for their home. They're giving them, rate discounts for running their generator instead of running off of the grid. And so now, instead of just the generator running for, once or twice a week, for, 5 minutes, now it's running for an hour.
And they're noisy.
And they're noisy. And I was wondering if there was maybe some way we could pass an ordinance saying that the generators in town could only be used for emergency purposes or maintenance.
Can we do that?
Yeah, make sure the mic's on. I
Put your
believe,
mic on.
yeah, I believe you can. I mean, number one is typically, and I'll rely on Councilman Talamini for this, the generators usually do exceed the decibel levels under the noise standards, and they're designed more for the emergency purposes or the like, so except for, maintenance or emergency periods of time, you can certainly regulate their use. Now, unless there is, and I'm not aware there's some form of state regulation that allows this, there may be a preemption, but we can look into it and address it, maybe put it on the work session next meeting. Let me see if there's anything out there from the state or the BPU.
Actually, after Sandy, when my house was out over a week without electricity, And that was not the first time, because I'm at the end of a cul-de-sac, so the electric company doesn't go to these little streets so fast. We had a generator installed, and every Sunday afternoon, we have to let it run.
Yes.
It's a few minutes, and it's loud. I mean,
Sure.
I hear it in the house, I know that the generator's being tested. So if that was on all the time,
Yeah,
it would disturb the neighbors, because
that's
you could
why,
hear, if I could hear it inside.
that's why I'm bringing it up.
Yeah.
Public nuisance.
Excellent,
Yeah.
excellent idea, so, we're gonna, our attorney's
I'll
gonna check
take a
into
look at
this.
it.
Thank you, thank you, yes.
Mayor, I'd like to just bring one thing up. I made an observation the other day. When you come into Oakland, I guess at some point there were signs up at the bottom of Yapo, top of Long Hill Road, coming in from Wayne. Would you, and 202 coming in from Mawa, you say, welcome to Oakland. And they're all gone.
Yeah.
Okay, and not only that, it's so bad that when you would come in through Franklin Lakes, at the top of Long Hill Road, their post is still standing there. Hang on, you come in through Breakneck Road, the post is standing there.
That's right.
I mean, what does that say about our town if we can't even welcome people? When you go to Franklin Lakes, since you go up the road, welcome to Franklin Lakes. Going down West Oakland Ave, welcome to Pompton Lakes. I
Well,
mean,
what happened was, Rotary, on the one on Breakneck and Long Hill, we happened to pass it last week, and I brought it up at my Rotary Club, and saying, the sign is coming down, and.
The sign is down.
It's
No, he fixed it, he fixed it.
No, there's nothing there.
He's talking about those welcome signs.
Oh, the welcome.
Those
Welcome.
were, those were
That's
donated
Chamber of
by
Commerce.
Chamber of Commerce.
That was the Chamber of
many years
Commerce
ago.
put those
They
up.
bought those signs.
So I think what we have to do is contact the Oakland Chamber of Commerce, which is called the Community of Commerce, and I'll find out if they are interested in putting up signs, otherwise we will look into this.
Yeah, and I believe
We have a meeting next
DPW
week.
Well, I believe DPW had also maybe looked at this maybe a while ago now.
I believe they got a quote, and I
they're
think it was like
expensive.
1,200 or
Per sign?
1,400
So I mean,
per sign.
so here's the
Per
deal.
sign?
If we're not gonna put the sign up, let's take the poles down so it doesn't look like garbage when you come into town.
Well, I'm gonna call, the president of the,
Or-
Community of Commerce.
Maybe we can identify funding sources, donations, things like that to have them. put
Well,
that down.
I mean, you did those banners, so, and the businesses were willing to participate. I am sure through the Community of Commerce, they will participate in putting up signs.
I mean, if we
I
could
will
just,
call, the president of the Community of Commerce is my Rotary Club, I will call him immediately, though he's on vacation this week.
Streetscape grant.
Yeah.
And what's the reason for the cost of these signs being so extravagant,
Wood?
Rich?
I don't know.
Those original signs were wood.
Oh, really?
They were there.
okay.
All right, so I will, check on that, thank you.
And while we're talking about signs, can we also address the signs that are on the telephone poles on West Oakland about people wanting to buy your house? The other ones about, I mean, we got signs, it's just sign pollution all over the place. I mean, what does that say about our town? Why can't we just have those
West Oakland
removed?
Avenue?
Go down West Oakland, Ave, just drive around town. The police should be able to log every single one of them. DPW comes and takes them
Well, I
down.
saw the hardwood floors, Mr. Campbell, on
No.
202.
Go down West Oakland Ave. Go up Long Hill. Look on the corner.
Yes, I told my Rotary sign was falling down. Okay, council reports.
So can we get those removed?
Which, I don't know, we're gonna have DPW look and see if it's,
I'm sorry,
actually,
normally
we'll
that
have our
wouldn't
zoning
be,
officer.
normally that wouldn't be DPW, that's a function of the code enforcement officer.
Yes, we have to have them
DPW
check.
may assist, but, kind of identifying what should be there and what shouldn't be there.
Right, these are the ones that are on
As a function
telephone
for
poles,
zoning.
trying to buy your house.
You can't do it on telephone poles, that's illegal, that's the electric company.
Yeah, we can send them out and have them do a
Telephone
sweep
company.
and,
Yeah.
follow
Okay.
up, sure.
All right, committee reports, Councilman Talamini.
Sure. The finance committee met the other day. We discussed Alderman Brook. They had some finance issues, and we'll be moving forward with them. And we should be receiving the final draft of our audit soon. The schools are out, and public events, as always, we need some members. Again, it's a wonderful committee. They participate in most of the events that we do in town, and without our volunteers, a lot of this stuff won't get done. So please take the time to join the Public Events Committee. And then lastly, I just want to congratulate the 9U travel baseball team. Last meeting, I congratulated them for winning a tournament. This time, they won the summer season. They were undefeated in the summer season, and they won their championship game.
Oh, are we gonna give them?
Yeah, yes, we'll
Good,
come.
thank
And
you.
then for their hope, from the fall to the spring to the summer, they went 23-1. They're really a very good baseball
Wow,
team.
that's great.
So congratulations to them. That's it, thank you.
Thank you, Councilman.
Thank you, Mayor. As the mayor just want to reiterate what the mayor said, the OCC needs volunteers. So even if we have parents here that have children, like the high school kids that want to get some maybe part-time experience working in television, come down a Saturday, get a camera, do some taping, or even help us put some programs on the air, that'd be great. I mean, right now, we have a problem where OLPH, we don't have enough volunteers to get the program, the mass on the air. So if there's anybody here has any ideas, want to volunteer, please let us know so that you can.
Ryan, excuse me, the chairman said that, you were gonna work out something with the church?
No, what happened was I had contact with Mr. Kelly. And Mr. Kelly and I had a conversation about asking the church if they can provide, if they had a source of volunteers that could volunteer, join the commission or the TV committee, come down here and get that programming on. And speaking to Mr. Kelly, what we decided was, I suggested that perhaps maybe Mr. Kelly may want to join the committee. Maybe he can do that, so so that's
That would be
kind of the resolution we're trying to get this programming back in there. But please, we certainly need volunteers.
Thank you.
Recreation, rec camp is going well. A lot of kids down there, so things are going just outstanding. Also, when it comes to signups, there'll still be some open slots available for fall football, fall soccer, and cheer. If you're interested, please contact the commissioner of football would be Alan Natoli, soccer would be Steve Saliani, cheer would be Daniel Walker. You can go to oaklandrec.org for more information, see if there's any availability. Also, the library, the drive Food for Fines is still going on, which means that if you're an Oakland resident and you've taken out an Oakland book and it's overdue, if you donate some food in lieu of your fine, they'll waive the fine, and that really just goes to the food bank at the Ponce Church. So it's a really nice program of being able to, do away with the fines. Also, was last week, they had a really good program. It was called Birth of Rock and Roll. It was held Tuesday, July 23rd this week. They had over 80 people in attendance. So there's a lot of good programs going on down at the library. So if you get a chance, certainly get the flyer, Universal Stories from downtown. There's all kinds of good programs going on down there. And also, the library was used as a cooling center over the weekend when the temperatures went up. And believe it or not, the air conditioning died on Sunday. It was a pretty bad failure, but I'm happy to report that the air conditioning is now up and running. It was all under warranty from all the work that was done on the library, so everything's back to normal, which is good. And we got that up and running today. And what else do I have? I think that's it. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman.
Thank you. Senior report, the summer movie schedule of weekly afternoon movies continues every Monday at 1:30. The movie for July 29th will be Second Act. It's a 2018 movie. And the movie on August the 5th will be Little. A flyer with the weekly movie schedule can be picked up at the Senior Center and is also available on the Borough website. Bingo will be held on Thursday, August the 1st at 1 p.m. The Senior Center will be holding 2 line dancing lessons for those interested in learning from our volunteer instructor, Edith. These lessons will be held on Wednesday, August the 7th at 1:30, and on Friday, August 23rd at 2 p.m. There is no pre-registration, as this is a drop-in class. A program will be held on the 10 warning signs of Alzheimer's on Thursday, August the 15th at 1 p.m. Registration is at the Senior Center and is requested for this program. The Senior Center will be holding a Name That Tune game show on Thursday, August the 29th. Please register for this event at the Senior Center. Beginning in August, a new fitness class will be added to the regularly scheduled programs. Every Friday from 12:30 to 1:30, the center will be hosting an arthritis fitness class. As with all other fitness classes, this will also be a drop-in class. And please save the date of Thursday, October the 3rd for the fall trip to the Paper Mill Playhouse in Millburn. The stage play offered will be a new musical called Chasing Rainbows, based on the life of Judy Garland. Tickets will go on sale beginning September 3rd. And the Monday Mahjong group is looking for additional players. Anyone interested can contact Ariel, and she will arrange that for you. Thank you, Ariel, for all the work she's been doing. She's been great down there. She's been incorporating new programs as time goes on. DPW report, the water department employees continue their annual fire hydrant flushing program. Every borough-owned fire hydrant is being flushed, pressure tested, and inspected during the process. The project will run through the early part of November. If a hydrant does not pass the water department's inspection, the Oakland Fire Department is immediately notified, and the hydrant is labeled out of service. The hydrant will then be replaced as soon as all other underground utilities are located and identified. In most cases, out-of-service hydrants are replaced within 5 working days. If residents have any questions, please call the DPW at 201-337-8103, extension 3001. You may also see Public Works employees working curbside with clipboards, inspecting storm drains. They will be inspecting, check this one, 2,248 storm drains, borough-owned, and compiling a list of those that need cleaning or require maintenance. This project will run through the end of October and is required under our new stormwater management plan. The Department of Public Works is again requesting help from our residents and are asking all residents to report any known potholes by filling out a request form on the borough website or by calling the DPW directly at 201-337-8103. To date, the department has filled 1,273 potholes this year alone. I want to throw out a thank you to Anthony Marcuselli and the incredible work performed every day by all the members of the DPW. And that's my report.
Thank you. As a side note, I called Ariel with the high temperatures to ask about seniors if there was anybody who needed, if they didn't have air conditioning, because in this weather, when it's that hot, and she said she was in touch with any seniors who would require air conditioning, because I said maybe we should open up the senior center. And then I found out the library was out of air conditioning. And I was watching the temperatures. We're gonna have pretty good days. I mean, today was beautiful, and tomorrow, and it's gonna start getting hot again. So if you know of anybody who doesn't have air conditioning, this very horrible and excessive heat, let us know. We will find a place for them. The library, the senior center will accommodate them, make sure they're comfortable. Even the Oakland Rehab Center will offer a space because they're very accommodating to the community. So please, don't let anybody stay in a house when the temperatures are in the high 90s and it is so humid. It's just not healthy and not safe. So just let us know. We'll get a place for them. So Ariel was very accommodating. She's wonderful
She's very
at the
good.
senior center.
And the seniors love her.
Oh, good. That's the most important thing.
Yes.
They love her, we love her. Thank you, Ariel. Councilman.
Yes, Mayor, thank you. The Board of Health does not meet during July and August, so there was no meeting. I was unable to make the Green Team meeting last night. However, Mayor, I understand you had a discussion with the Environmental Commission.
Yes, I went to the Environmental Commission
They're
meeting.
gonna come the first meeting of every month to give a
Yes.
short.
A presentation. We had a meeting. I went to the meeting as requested. And I want all our committees to work together and not step on each other's toes. And everybody we're all volunteers, not us, but we volunteer our lives, but all the committee members and the commission members and the board members are all volunteers. And I wanted everybody to work together. And as I was sitting at the meeting and I'm learning things, I said, oh, I didn't know that, or that's unbelievable, I wish you would tell the town. And so I suggested maybe come to a council meeting, rotate who's going to come and present, and just give us a tidbit, like once a month or at every council meeting. For example, about recycling, what you can and cannot recycle. Something so simple, like just something simple like a pizza box. You can't recycle pizza boxes with all the food on it.
I know Nancy Krause did that about 6 months ago.
Right, but we as we get older, we have short memories, right? So I suggested that if they came, not you, of course not you. So I suggested that they come, somebody from the Environmental Commission come to a meeting were televised, and give us a tidbit on recycling, on the environment, on about plastic bags, and about bottle caps, that you can't even you should be taking off the caps of the bottles, the plastic bottles, and what plastic can be recycled, and what can't be recycled, and et cetera. So, David, right, it's David who's the chairman, right? David's the chairman, right?
Yes,
He
David,
emailed, we
right.
went back and forth, and he said, how about if we have we meet twice a month, the second and the fourth Wednesday of the month, how about if a member from the Environmental Commission comes the first meeting of the month, which is the second
14th.
Wednesday of the month? Right, so we're going to have our first presentation, and I said, they could either do it during the open portion, or what I said was we'd put it down as, under announcements, and let them just come and give us the tidbit of the month on recycling, on garbage, on environment, on different things, pollution, and I thought that would be good.
Yes.
It was a very great informational meeting. And it's open to everybody. You could go to the Environmental Commission and just listen to, they really have great ideas.
Yes, they do, and the green team too.
And
Both.
yes, and thank you
And
to
a
the
lot of
green
members
team
are
for
both
all you
teams,
do.
yeah. And that's it, Mayor, thank you.
Sorry, but you're right, I did go. Yes, Councilman.
Oh, well, thank you, Mayor. Put my mic on so I don't get yelled at by my friends here. The Oakland Flood Commission will not be meeting on the second Monday of August because, well, we're taking it off. The Open Shade Tree Committee will be meeting on the first Monday at Borough Hall. The Planning Board will be meeting on the second Thursday of August.
No. It was canceled.
Oh, that's right, I'm sorry. There will be no planning board meeting in August. I've got a nice light month now. This is not bad. And on the grant front, we are obviously keeping our eyes open for the next round of TAP grants, which was the grant for the Great Oak Park. Oh, I'm sorry, for the Station Park, I'm sorry. So as soon as we see that come back around, you know, per the DOT's suggestion, we're going to reapply for it.
Thank you.
And, Robert?
Thank you, sir. Great Oak Park, I only have to report that the lawn continues to grow with all the water that we have.
Have you been watching the grass grow?
I visit. Public safety, so, yeah. From the police perspective, they had this is for the June report, so they had their annual Click It or Ticket campaign, which ran from the end of May into June. The police officers issued 186 summonses, of which the majority of them were not for seatbelts, they were for other infractions, which states that people are wearing their seatbelts. So that's a very good thing. The campaign was successful, with everyone keeping in compliance with the drivers wearing their seatbelts. Last month, the Detective Bureau was in the borough, worked on, there was an armed robbery in a house in the borough, and our Detective Bureau, through their efforts, Lieutenant Eldridge, Detective Mark Piercy, and Detective Mike Griffin arrested the 3 people that were guilty of this, and they received commendations for doing the same. And then recently, more files were charged in connections with the armed robbery.
Charges were filed.
While being incarcerated in Bergen County Jail, the 3 suspects were communicated with an individual not in jail and conspired with them to tamper with a witness in the case. All 3 suspects had new charges filed against them and will remain in jail until they're not in jail.
Film at 11.
Hey,
That's very good way of saying
that
it.
is a fact.
Well, you know, were they in Bergen County?
Yes.
They had a mumps, did you hear about that? They had a mump, they weren't, nobody was released because there was a mumps outbreak. And attorneys couldn't even go into the jail.
So as far as patrol for the month of June, they conducted 313 motor vehicle stops, 18 radar details, 10 traffic enforcement details, resulting in 487 motor vehicle summonses being issued for the month. Also, as the mayor mentioned in the beginning of her report, we have the Junior Police Academy ongoing. Their graduation is this Friday, 7 p.m. at Valley School. It's an outstanding program for these kids, and the graduation ceremony is very impressive. So if you want to see something with these kids doing some paramilitary behavior, it's really a neat night to go see that. In addition to that, we have our new four officers started the real police academy this past Friday, July 19th, so I wish them luck. And they have a very hot summer to be running, and they will end in the very cold winter when they graduate in December, so good luck to them. Fire department for the month of June ran 27 calls, and they have 200 calls year to date. First aid squad for the month of June, 84 calls, 1,504 hours. And for the year, 445 calls, totaling 8,225 hours. I push that every month to make everyone realize that this is all volunteer time, given up by both fire and the first aid squad. So it just says a lot that our community has the people that are willing to do this for our residents and for those that are passing through town and need assistance. So kudos to them. That is my report.
That is it, thank you.
Mayor, can I just
Yes.
address Councilman Knapp real quick? A resident grabbed me down at the library earlier today about Great Oak Park, and he said it'd be great. His concern is, when you walk down there and you come off the parking lot, it's all muddy in those low-lying areas. He was asking if there's anything to be done as far as throwing some rock down so it's easier for the seniors to walk so they can get into the park.
I'll run it past Mike, but I know there's a lot of environmental red tape to have to go through to do anything down there, so I don't know if that's permitted, but I'll definitely.
John, you're involved with that.
I'll talk to Mike, we'll take a look at it, and we'll see if it's outside the area that has no environmental impact.
All right,
Okay,
so
thank you.
I won't talk to Mike, because John won't
John
talk to
won't.
Mike.
Mike, if you're listening.
All right, so I'll redirect the question to John then.
That way.
Okay.
I'll send Mike an email right now.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, John.
Okay, a motion open to the public.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Someone's coming to the podium.
Michael Pritchard, 23 Calumet. You mentioned about standby generators. Now, I've had one for about 4 or 5 years now, and you were talking about noise. I know the one that I have, it's a Kohler. They said it was rated at 67 dB. But I also know in the town here, they were very strict on where that generator could be placed. In other words, you couldn't place it on your property line. It had to be 15 feet from the property line.
Say that again?
The borough ordinance calls that generator had to be 15 feet from the property line.
Oh, you're right, it can't be on the side,
No, you
right.
can't be on the side and everything else. Now, I did this also because I get involved with Division of Senior Services under the Federal Older Americans Act. And a law was proposed down in Trenton dealing with generators. And this had to also do generators that would have gone into nursing homes and so forth like that. And I stood there and I wrote a letter which was picked up by the Division of Senior Services, and it was taken down to Trenton. They pulled that bill because what was on that letter. I can go back and do my homework and see what it is there, because if you're standing there looking about stuff like that, I did involve like the New Jersey Administrative Code.
Well, our
Fire code.
attorney's going to look into this.
Yeah, but I've done a lot of work already.
Well, I think you should get in touch with Brian. He would be very
Well,
appreciative.
you
Look at all the work you're saving him.
Mr. Pritchard, you can send me it by email.
That's right.
Okay. I'll do that.
And that we would appreciate it. It's less work he has to do. It's less time.
And you can charge us less.
I didn't say that, Mr.
But again, what it was on this particular thing here, the legislature pulled the bill because of all the things that I pointed out, which would be wrong with what they were trying to do. They were standing there trying to put in generators into nursing homes and have some Florence Nightingale running around with electric cords and stuff like that. But it was just ridiculous, and they stopped it, And again, you went into what the New Jersey Administrative Code said, and that's what was my basis of looking at that.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, thank you.
I'll see what I got.
Thank you. We appreciate that you're helping us help Brian.
Yeah, I'll just get there and do my old thing over.
That's wonderful. Very much appreciated, thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
Anyone else? Motion to close?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Bills to be paid, Councilman
Mayor,
Tomlin.
Mayor, 1 second.
Yes.
For Russ, if you don't mind. So, John, I received a correspondence from Mike Guardino. We are not permitted to put the stone down on the mud path. He asked, he's been trying to do it, and due to environmental concerns, he's been denied.
I guess Mike's watching the meeting, thank you.
Thank you. I didn't tell you how I got the correspondence.
Because that would be rude and considered.
That's right, that would be, right, that would be usually
You
good.
didn't see that a little, Rich passed me a note, and I have it.
So Rich violated the open public meeting law?
Councilman Tomlin, you're on.
Yes, bills to be paid, $472,791.75. So moved.
Second.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
No,
Motion to adjourn?
no, I didn't mean all in favor, I meant roll call, that's what I meant.
Councilman Bianchi.
Lisa knew what I meant.
Councilman Knapp.
Yes.
Councilman Kamala.
Yes.
Councilman Levy.
Yes.
Councilman Pignatelli.
Yes.
Councilman Talamini.
Yes.
Motion to adjourn?
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next meeting will be August 14th, right here in council chambers. Thank you, be patient.
The night before your anniversary.
That's right.
August 5th.
The day after.
48, oh my God, 48 years.
The one's on the day.